right. Hey everyone, it's Mary DeMuth, and I want to teach you a little bit about how to upload and create a graphic on picmonkey.com. You can see the address here, picmonkey.com. And I'll start with kind of giving you an overview of Book Launch Mentor, and you can see kind of the aesthetic. This font here is Oswald, and since I did the design on this site, I already know all these things. But you can ask your web designer to tell you what fonts were used on your website, or you get to determine that yourself. Either way. You can see that all these images here are using those same fonts, which is part of design. You want to not be so cluttered. I go to some websites and I see like 75 different fonts and it's very chaotic. So you want to kind of limit it to 2, maybe 3. But all these things that you see on this site here, I created on PicMonkey. This book mentoring intensive, which is coming up in a little bit. These little buttons here: edit your book, launch your book, find a mentor, and the latest blogs. And so I'm just going to kind of show you a typical post or a typical PicMonkey creation. And here's one right here. And so I will show you how to do this in PicMonkey. So let's jump over to PicMonkey. You can see this nice little boy's freckled face here. And as you can see, there's editing software within PicMonkey. Now this is actually totally free, but if you would like some extra fonts and some extra workability within it, you can pay for an upgraded account. It's not very much. I think it's a little over $100 for a year. So to me, it's well worth the investment. And they now have templates available, which is really great. If you're in a pinch and you just think, I just have to create a graphic really fast, just run to their templates. And they also have great tutorials on their website of how to turn photos into illustrations. You can minimize you can create a picture and then have the letters take on the picture. So like if you have a flower picture and you want your letters to be full of the flower picture and then the rest of the background be like white or black, then you can do that. Anyway, there's just a lot here that's available, and most of this is free, which is great. So this is kind of how I create it. I now go to unsplash.com. I'm actually a photographer, so I used to just search through my pictures to try to find a good image, which was great because I knew that I owned them and I knew I had permission to use them. It's really important to me to have things on the up and up. And then I discovered Unsplash, which, as you can see here, has some amazing pictures. These are royalty free and they are free for you to use, and they're high quality. And actually these, when you download one of these, they're typically like 2 or 3 megabytes. So you can actually use these for book covers and all sorts of things. So that might just be worth the price of admission right there. It's just discovering Unsplash. And what I love about Unsplash is you can do a search. So here I've done a search on book, and you can do a search on that, and then they will pull up things about that. Let's see if I can, maybe it's not listening to. There we go. Since I do Book Launch Mentor, a lot of times I'm searching book. And here are a whole bunch of images of books. And, you could do writer, computer. You can do lots of times, like for women's lifestyle blogs, you might say decor, you might say woman alone in the woods, which you can find so many of them. So I'm just going to randomly pick one of these photos and download it. So we'll just take, let's see, we'll take this one's kind of boring, but we'll take this one. So I just click download and it'll take me to another screen. And then I just say save file. Now I'm on a Mac, so I'm not sure how this does it on a non-Mac, but I'll see how long it takes to download right here. And once it's done, I can put it onto my desktop, which I'll do in just a second. So anyway, before I go ahead and download that, I'm going to show you this really great part of PicMonkey that they didn't used to have, and it's called the Hub. And in the hub, you can save images that you can see all these ones that I've saved, because if you save it in the hub, then you can reopen this image and you can fix it or do something different with it. And that is brilliant. But the nice thing about it is you can create a template for your blog. And so here's my book launch mentor template. It just is the exact dimensions that I need it to be. Here is the marydemuth.com template. Here is the Restory Show template. So I have a black and white of someone here and their first name, their last name, Restory Show. So I'm just going to open the book launch mentor one just by clicking open. And by now my photo has been downloaded. So this is just a really boring way to do it, but I just go ahead and put it onto my screen there so I have it. So so you can see I have all of this here. It's already ready. It's in the right font. And now I want to add a picture to it. And so I go to the picture icon, which is right here. And you can add all sorts of pictures here if you want. They have like postal, if you want to go postal. So if I wanted to add that, I could. And this is when you have an image, you can enlarge it by dragging the corners. You can up here, when you can rotate it however you want, which is kind of a nice feature to have. Again, enlarge it. You can change the color on it by just dragging this around to see which color you would like it. And you can fade it into the background like this. So if you want it to have kind of a translucent feel, you can do that. And if you think, oh, that looks really dumb, you can just delete it. So anyway, in the images, there's all sorts of different things that you could do here. And it's fun to explore. I mean, if you want to create a label, you can, again, here this shows the basic labels that you will get. But if you're in a Royale member, you can get other ones. So I'll just show you another idea here. You can add this image. I'm not really wild about it, but I'm just going to show it to you. And there's two colors in this image. You can see it's black and white, so I could change it to dark blue and that color. And if I want to put my text over the top of it, you can see that when I drag it over here, it's underneath, so I can click that. And you can send the image to the back, and now you see that this text here, you can see it, but I'm going to make it white so you can actually see it. See? Like that. And again, you can change the text color however you want by just dragging it over here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. You can also just hit the delete key. You can see my text is still the same. So those are just some of the images that you can pull on, but for the sake of what I'm teaching you today, I want you to go to add your own, and you're going to add it from your computer. Now you could also see if it says here you add your own, it can also say you add it from your hub, which you have saved images there, and you could put them there. But I'm just going to, I know that this is the top one. I know it's the book that I just did. So I'll go ahead and add it in here. Now this is in front of the text. So again, you just side click and say send it to back. And now you see everything there. Now that I want it to fit the whole screen, so I'm going to drag it like this. And, you know, if you wanted to really play with it, you could, you know, change it like this and try to make sure it covered all of the image. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put it back to right, which is about right there. Okay. And now, one of the things that's helpful is when you're working with this image right here, it's hard to get to this text. So you just click outside, and then you can click on your text. So I'm just going to say reading is awesome. And I would like this to be a lot bigger. So I'm just going to drag it and pull like that. And that is the wrong color, so I'm going to make it red or pink or whatever. The colors in Book Launch Mentor tend to be like that red right there. So I'll put that there, and I'm going to lower that a little bit, and I'm going to make it into a dark blue for fun. Okay, so now this is my awesome picture. It's kind of boring, but I'll also show you a couple things that you can do over here. So you can crop the image. So if you wanted to make this into an Instagram post, then you could crop it like that. I'm not going to do that, but you can. You can, if you're just kind of tired of everything, you can change the canvas color to white, and it will just apply it, and everything will be white all of a sudden. You can, and they'll always just ask you if you want to keep doing that. You can rotate it, so you can rotate the image however you want if you're upside down on it. Here's where this is kind of the way that you can edit the photo. So you can change the way that the photo looks this way. I don't think it's kind of hard. It's really hard to see on this image. You can kind of barely see it. So this is probably the wrong image to show you how to do that. So you can saturate the colors and change them. And again, there's so much white in this photo that you can't, but you can just play around with it. You can sharpen the image, you can resize it. So here, if you want this to be like a huge file, you can make this larger. If you need it to be smaller, then you can just change the pixels here. But you can also do that as you save it. So here, this is ways to change the image that are kind of preset. So you can, in fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up a different image because this one's just not working for me. So I'm going to go back, and we're going to do one with a lot of color. And again, I'm just hitting download, and I'm going to save it. And I'm going to pull off this one. So this will also show you the different layers that you have as you're designing. So let's see, I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to pull up, it's taking a while to download. So anyway, so one of the other things you can do is like you can change this here. You can make it go up and down like this, and you can make that smaller if that's too big. And I also want to show you how to change the font. So you can go over to here to the font, and they have a whole bunch of ones with the ones with the crowns are ones that that you have to pay for, but again, totally worth it. Some really cool fonts. Like I'm kind of enjoying this one right now. So I'm going to, even though I'm not going to stay with my aesthetic of booklaunchmentor.com, I'm going to keep that here. And also on this text, you can notice that it's justified left. So you can justify it left, you can put it in the center, you can justify it right. So I'm going to put it in the center, and it's easy to see like just by eyeballing it whether that's in the center or not. But you can kind of just see how it changes with different choices that you make. I'm going to go back to Nexa Rust. But another thing is, the nice thing about PicMonkey is they will allow you to have your fonts on here as well. So if you're like frustrated, you're like, well, I can only use this one because that's what Book Launch Mentor is all about. Or you can, that's the all caps of Oswald. Here's Oswald, not all caps. I'm going to see if this photo's done. Not quite yet. So that's just a way you can use your own particular fonts on that. Here is a tool where you can create different frames on your image if you want. It's kind of fun to play around with. And then different textures, like I kind of like bokeh, and that will, you can't really see it here because we don't have it. I have an image on here, but when I have an image on it, I'll show you what that's like. So almost ready on this image. I'm not sure why my computer's being so slow. And then, anyway, so then there is different themes that they have. So if you're like trying to do a celebratory theme, you can look at different things that you can add to make it celebratory. They have all sorts of themes to the left. There's zombies in case you need to like make sure that it's a zombie thing. Comic Heroes, Santa Land. So different kinds of, basically it's kind of all the holidays. So I'm going to pull this other thing up now that it's finally downloaded, and I'm going to add it here. So I go to the picture, which is the butterfly, add your own, go to the computer, and it should pull up. And again, I need to send it to the back. And there you go. So I'm going to... Now the first thing you'll notice is it's very hard to read that. And so one little trick that you can do is you can go to the shapes and go to geometric and choose a rectangle and pull it across like this. And kind of make sure it's the same size as this. You can send it to the back. Or you can bring it forward. Let's see. There we go. And that's kind of harsh actually, so I don't really like that. So you can fade it like this. But one of the easier ways to do that is to, again, click outside, get on here. I'm going to just make sure that this is white. And then on the black, I'm like, oh, I don't really like the black so much. I'm going to center that a little bit. And let's go for kind of a bluer color. So I'll choose that one, and I'm going to fade it. Now, the other thing you can do is when you go to the color here, you can also, if you know your hex color, so for instance, you know like the colors on your website, it's like B25734, you can just paste it there and it will become that color. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to Reading is Awesome. I don't remember which one that was, but let's just do that one. Okay, so Reading is Awesome. And booklaunchmentor.com, obviously we've lost it, so I'm going to send it over to white so we can see it. Even then it's a little hard to read, but you get the idea. Okay, and so now I can show you a little bit about, well, these here are when you have a human picture and you can give yourself a spray tan, you can change your eyes, you can whiten your teeth, and this is basically Photoshop for you. So if you want to do that, you absolutely can. But here's like the idea of how these things change. You can see how the image changes when you click this. So you can see the difference. Oh, I think because I haven't... the image isn't the first thing, I actually pasted this onto that. That's why it's not working on that. So if your primary image, so let's say, let me start this again. I didn't save my changes. I'm not going to. So I'm going to cancel. So I'm going to start open from my computer. Don't save. Why is it doing that? Open computer. Let's see here. Why is this? Okay, I'm just going to go somewhere else. Cut this off. Leave page. It just goes to show that sometimes the best thing is to start over. You know, like when you fix your computer. So I'm going to open a picture, and I'm going to open this one. And it's my primary picture. So now you can see over here on the left, here's what Orton looks like. See how it does things, changes it. Cross process. There's a green tint, a blue tint, a red tint. I'm going to apply the red tint. Dusk kind of makes it darker. I'm not going to do that. So this is how you kind of change the image. So I'm just going to go ahead and slap on text for fun, just because I want to be able to save this. You are cool. So there you go. That's what I'm going to put on there. And I'm going to make it really big. Now it just looks like you are cool. And again, we're going to use that same technique I just told you. I'm going to make that white. I'm going to go over here and grab a geometric, which is this rectangle. I'm going to spread it all the way across like this, just dragging it again. And I'm going to send it to the back and pull it like this. Okay, so I would like a little more black. And I want to pick up on this purple here, so I'm going to make the second color more purple, and so it's not so harsh. I'm going to fade it a little bit like that. Okay, now I'm going to save it. So you go to the save, and you typically want to save it as the best you can in terms of the quality. So I went ahead and saved it as the high one, the Sean Connery level. But these dimensions are extremely large, and you don't want to have these large dimensions on your site. So typically it's between 650 and 750. So I'll just say 750. And it's like half a megabyte, so it's 541 kilobytes. I'm going to save it to my computer. And I don't want to have it be the same name as the picture that I just took. So I'll say, you are cool. And I want to make sure it's on my desktop so that I can take it and put it into my program. And there it is. That's all there is to it. So I'm just going to show you a little bit more because you're an author. You can add it to your hub, which I don't really want to do, but I'm going to open something new from my hub just so you can kind of see how a book cover might look. So here's one. And this is a flat of a book. And so when you are uploading to CreateSpace, they will ask you to put your flat up on the site, but it will have to be in a PDF format. So I actually save this as a JPEG. I paste it into Word and I paste it exactly into Word so that every corner hits the very dimensions of Word. I make sure that Word is the dimensions of this, and then I save it as a PDF. And so you can see here just how I've got this image is from Unsplash. Again, I'm working on. Looks like these are already fixed, but here we go. So if I wanted to change this, I realized that I had a typo or something, then I can go in and change this. But this basically is how this would look like as a book. Here's another hub item that you could use for something like your banner for your website. And again, that's how I designed my website. This is for marydemuth.com, and that's how it looks. And it shows you all the different layers and all the different elements of it. And I could, move this around if I wanted. I could do all sorts of things. I'm not going to save it, but anyway, that's the nice thing about that is you can mess with your old images and fix them. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you a little tutorial about what was it like. How do you create these little images in picmonkey.com? And they didn't pay me to do this. It's just because I really enjoy this program so much. So thanks so much for being a part, and I appreciate it. So let me see if I can stop this. I don't know how.